Hello and welcome to the Philippines. This is a ferry ride to Siquior Island, and then I'm going to show you a ride I took. I rented a motorbike once I got to Siquior Island, and went down some back roads, found a marine sanctuary, a few other things back there off the main road. It's kind of interesting. Anyway, this is from Dumaguete going over to Siquior Island. There's the captain of our boat there. One thing I found interesting, these ferries seem to leave in pairs. I've noticed that many times from different ports. They will take off in one, two, three together, relatively close together, and I presume those are two reasons I can think of that they might do that. Number one, maybe efficiency. You get in the wake of the ship ferry ahead of you, and maybe that cuts down some of the resistance. Probably more importantly is for safety reasons. If one has difficulty issues, mechanical or otherwise, the other one is there to help out perhaps. Anyway, you have generally on these ferries, you have a non-air conditioned area and you have an air conditioned area. Of course, the air-conditioned area costs a little bit more. And my experience has been that usually I go with sometimes I pay for the air conditioned, but then I move up to the non-air conditioned area because the breeze is nice, I can see more and experience the sea better in that type of area. The seas were pretty calm this day, and this is what's called a row-row ferry, roll on, roll off. And you got a big ramp on the front. Usually, sometimes there are different places on the boat, even the side, where you can roll on, roll off vehicles. Forklifts can get in and off of the ferries to load and unload. That ferry ahead of us actually started slowing down. We ended up passing it, and as I watched it, kind of became still in the water. So apparently, they were having some mechanical problems. There were three different shipping companies leaving Dumaguete going over to Siquior Island. I think my fare was about 150 pesos, about $3 US. I'm not absolutely positive about that, but it was very close to that. And here we're coming into the port at the town of Siquijor on Siquior Island. When we got off, walked off, we walked down to the land area down there where there's transportation. Basically a big line of tricycle drivers and motorbike hobble taxis that you can rent, and there's also opportunities around the island, many signs if you want to rent motorbike, and I actually did. My tricycle driver kind of acted as my broker and ended up providing me with a motorbike and a map. There's a kind of a tourist stand in there, very small. They can supply you with a map of the island, a little bit of information about the island. Siquijor is relatively small. It's considered the kind of like a mysterious island. Has a reputation for magic and sorcery, so some people are interested in that, some people are afraid of it. They transport virtually anything and everything on these ferries with this many islands. It's the only way you get product, animals. Those dogs were pretty interested in getting out of those cages and meeting up with their owners again. And I met a couple of guys, Norwegian fellow I think, that had a motorbike there, and he was going to spend some time on the island. He actually had a resort over on I think Negros Island, and trying to still get in contact with him and maybe take a trip over that way one day and visit his little resort that he has, him and his wife. I took a few risks on this trip. It was kind of fly by the seat of my pants. I did not set up reservations ahead of time, so when I was here, I didn't have a reservation for a hotel room, a resort room, anything like that. My tricycle driver charged me, I think, $250, and he said that's until we find you a place to stop, place to rent. And I think we looked at 4 or 5 places that were full, and before we finally found one that was open. I've done 2 previous videos of my time on Siquior Island, my hotel, my resort room cost me, I think, 2,500, about 1,500. Pardon me, 1,500, which was about 30 US dollars for the night. And that same place, I think it rents for about 3,500 by the month, plus electric. And electric might be a little high there. I'm not positive that they get their electric from a diesel generator on the island. Anyway, a lot of cows you see around the Philippines don't look very well fed. Looks like there's plenty of vegetation to eat, but they look pretty skinny a lot of times. And the sign and my tricycle driver brought me a motorbike in the morning to rent, and I'll show you the rental agreement about that for that a little bit later. And I spent the day riding around the island, and this was the sign said it was a marine sanctuary down here. There were a number of Ys in the road where you had to decide which way you're going to go. There wasn't always a sign. I stopped to ask a couple times, and it was an interesting ride back through here. Road got a little rough at one point in time, and I'll show you a real nice house back in here somebody's building also. Some foreigner, some rich foreigner, I suppose. And I'm using a little action camera, Get 2 to film this with. And there's that nice house somebody is building. And they've got quite a bit of land there too. Quite a bit of property fenced in there. I think my motorbike rental was 400 pesos, about $8 for 24 hours. And of course I filled it up with fuel again. There the road got pretty rough. I wasn't able to hold on to my camera. Gets a little tricky riding on some of these really rough areas, especially when you're not used to riding a motorbike. I've rented a couple other islands, Camotes Island. But other than that, I have not ridden since I was a pretty young kid. And I am the only one out here. There's a marine sanctuary just to the right. They're in the ocean, in the sea. And we'll have a stop-off place up here. They had a sign where you could rent equipment, but I didn't see anybody there, anybody in charge. And I'll show you that information. I was the only one out there, and I thought about swimming out there, but I was a little bit afraid about securing what I had, because I had everything I'd brought along on the trip I had in a bag on the bike. So I was a little bit nervous. So there's a little sign up there that says house for sale. And here's a look at that area of the marine sanctuary. They had steps going down into the sea, so it was easy enough to get down in there. It's just that and a little bit of a changing room over there with a kind of a blanket over the entrance. Here's some of the prices, but I didn't see any equipment. I didn't see anybody really in charge of the area, any store in the area. So I'm not quite sure. Maybe you have to call ahead and make reservations for that, or maybe it's more for weekends. I rented a Honda 125 scooter, and here's a look at the rental agreement. Give you an idea what you're looking at there. Siquior Island is about 102 kilometers around coastline, which is about 63 miles. By road, that's about 80 kilometers or about 50 miles. You can get around it in about 3 hours or less if you're in a hurry. I took about 5 hours stopping at a couple places, and I really wish I would have spent an extra day there, because there's lots of things that I didn't see. They have beaches, they have caves, waterfalls, butterfly sanctuary, and I was just there way too short a time. There's an old historical church on the island, 1 or 2 of them that you might be interested in checking out, and there's 2 hospitals, one in Lazi, and I'll give you a look around there. I saw the sign on the road. I turned around and decided to check it out, find out what a province, more of a country hospital was like. And I got there at noon, so I had to wait a while to get a little bit of a tour of the place. That's one thing you'll find in the Philippines too. Many businesses take lunch breaks. They close for an hour or so for lunch. And nice clean hospital. That's especially what I was looking for, the mental health department. Anyway, they said I was beyond hope. They have some areas under construction. They're expanding a little bit. Uh, and I did find uh, a few nurses and staff on break, friendly and happy, like so many Filipinos, fast to laugh. Hello, our famous staff here. Yeah. And here's a look around a couple of the rooms there. They've got a male area, they've got a maternity area. Animal bites are the biggest issue that they have, it seems. The lady who showed me around, her name is Lynn, and she was very nice. And she's also rescues dogs, and I did a little interview with her about that. And I didn't want a dog, but I was interested in her efforts to rescue.
Do you have any interest about my dog? About
Yeah, I don't want a dog, but are you trying to give me dogs?
if you want, but
Oh, this is Lynn, and what's the name of the town?
Lazi here.
Lazi.
Simacolong here,
Okay,
but Simacolong is a part of Lazi.
okay,
Lazi has 16 barangays or 16,
okay.
16 or 18 something. I can't really remember, but
And you adopt dogs.
yes, I adopt dogs.
All right, that's a big problem in the Philippines, because that's
Yes.
even last night and this morning, all these dogs out in front of my
Yes.
cabin,
Yes.
and I'm wondering, do these belong to anybody?
Yes, they don't really care, honestly.
Yeah. And what do you do when you adopt a dog? You just take it and you...
I have them spray and neuter,
Oh, okay.
but it's very difficult because it costs a lot of money. Stray
Animals are a big issue in the Philippines. Most of them don't seem to be aggressive, but they're also not friendly. And so if you reach down and want to pet one, they'll usually start barking, maybe even snap at you. If you leave them alone, generally they leave you alone. Sometimes I've been walking in areas where I've had some aggressively come at me, and so you just never know. You need to be careful, but something should be done. If anybody's interested in her effort, I can put you in touch with her. So here is a map of Siquior Island. Here is the town of Siquijor right here. That's where I came in from a boat. Now Siquijor is located pretty close to Dumaguete. You can take a ferry from Dumaguete. You can take a ferry from the south end of Cebu Island, Santander area on the south of Cebu Island. And you can take a ferry from Bohol, Tagbilaran City area. And I'm not sure if there are any other ferries coming in and out or not, but from Pangalao Island, you can almost throw a rock and hit this island. I'm exaggerating greatly, so don't take me for my word there. But you can see it, and it looks for quite close from Pangalao Island, just off of Bohol Island. And anyway, I came in here to Siquijor. I took a tricycle driver, and he told me that the best places to find a place to stay were over in San Juan, over here, around here, over on San Juan. Actually, that blue, that's out in the sea. We didn't take the sea route. We took this road to San Juan, and there are lots of resorts along here and little hotels. Lots of signs for motorbikes for rent. And anyway, for about 250 pesos, I took him, and our agreement was he would just take me until we found a place for me to stay. And like I said earlier, we checked 4 or 5 places that were full. larger resorts, and I ended up staying at a small resort. And I've done 2 previous videos about Siquior Island, and you can just do a search on my channel for Siquior, and those will come up. I showed the room that I stayed in at the one place, and I showed a waterfall at one of the videos. Anyway, he took me over here, and I got here maybe middle of the afternoon, and he arranged for me to rent a motorbike, and he was going to bring it to me in the next morning. So he dropped me off here, and the next morning he brought my motorbike. I gave him a ride back to the town of Siquijor, dropped him off, then I came back this way. And somewhere back in here is that marine sanctuary that I went to, back in here someplace. And I believe over in here there's a very small airport as well, and for very small public, mostly private planes, I understand, that come in there at the present time. So anyway, then from San Juan I continued on, and there are a couple of waterfalls, and on one of my previous videos I took you up to one of the waterfalls. There's a larger waterfalls I didn't get to. I did not take the roads up into the mountains, and so that would be a trip to see. And my understanding is that there is some mysterious goings on up in the mountains, especially right around Easter time, that they perform some of their witchcraft and sorcery type things. There are some people that go just to watch that, I guess. Anyway, I come along around here. I visited Lazi, town of Lazi. That's where the hospital was. And back around here, there is a port in Lazi also. Not sure where the ferries come from that stop in Lazi. It may be more of a freight port. I'm not sure. It might have a passenger port as well. And I went around here, and this all took me about 5 hours. And I really wish I would have spent another day and searched out more areas. Lorena, I went up into the hills up in here. There are a couple of resorts up here in the mountains. And I went up and visited a coffee shop up there. That's on one of my other videos. And then I left late that day. Actually, I dropped my agreement with the guy was I was going to drop the motorbike off in Lorena at the police station there, because the motorbike actually belonged to one of the police officers. So I dropped it off there, gave the keys to them, and I actually paid my broker there, the tricycle driver, paid him an extra 100 pesos to come and get that and bring it to the officer in the morning. That was my agreement, so I ended up paying him 400 for the day plus another 100 for him to retrieve that bike and bring it to the officer, his home, I presume. Siquijor is an interesting island, and I enjoyed my trip there. If you're going to travel to any island, I suggest that you do a little bit of research about the island, and because a lot of times there are many things to see and do on these islands that you don't know unless you do some research. And once you get to the island, of course, the locals can guide you. Sometimes they're looking to be their guide as well, and sometimes that can be a good deal for you. Thank you for watching. Please like the video. Please share the video. Please subscribe. Safe travels to you all wherever you're at, and we'll see you next time.